Good morning and happy Tuesday. I'm a little late today, sorry. Got out of bed a little late. So I'm going to start the morning with our prayer. Before we start reading, we're going to go to chapter 8 now in Genesis. Father, as I read and receive your word, may it deeply be rooted in me, so when difficulty comes, it will be your word that encourages and strengthens me. So chapter 8. The flood recedes. But God remembered Noah and all the animals in the boat. He sent a wind to blow across the waters, and the floods began to disappear. The underground water sources ceased from their gushing, and the torrential rain stopped. So the flood gradually began to recede. After 150 days, exactly 5 months from the time the flood began, the boat came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. 2.5 months later, as the waters continued to go down, other mountain peaks began to appear. After another 40 days, Noah opened the window he had made in the boat and released a raven that flew back and forth until the earth was dry. Then he sent out a dove to see if it could find dry ground. But the dove found no place to land because the water was still too high. So it returned to the boat. And Noah held out his hand and drew the dove back inside. 7 days later, Noah released the dove again. This time, toward evening, the bird returned to him with a fresh olive leaf in his beak. I'm sorry, I just read that. Sorry, my dogs now decide to play. Where was I? Noah now knew that the water was almost gone. A week later, he released the dove again, and this time it did not come back. Finally, when Noah was 601 years old, 10.5 months after the flood began, Noah lifted back the cover to look. The water was drying up. 2 more months went by, and at last the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Leave the boat, all of you. Release all the animals and birds so that they can breed and reproduce in great numbers." So Noah, his wife, and his sons and their wives left the boat. And all the various kinds of animals and birds came out pair by pair. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord and sacrificed on the animals and birds that had been approved for that purpose. And the Lord was pleased with the sacrifice and said to himself, "I will never again curse the earth, destroying all living things, even those people's thoughts and actions are bent toward evil from childhood. As long as the earth remains, there will be springtime and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, day and night." God's covenant with Noah, chapter 9. God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, "Multiply and fill the earth. All the wild animals, large and small, and all the birds and fish will be afraid of you. I have placed them in your power. I have given them to you for food, just as I have given you grain and vegetables. But you must never eat animals that still have their lifeblood in them. And murder is forbidden. Animals that kill people must die, and any person who murders must be killed. Yes, you must execute anyone who murders another person, for to kill a person is to kill a living being made in God's image. Now you must have many children and repopulate the earth. Yes, multiply and fill the earth." Then God told Noah and his sons, "I am making a covenant with you and your descendants, and with the animals you brought with you, all these birds and livestock and wild animals. I solemnly promise never to send another flood to kill all living creatures and destroy the earth." And God said, "I am giving you a sign as evidence of my eternal covenant with you and all living creatures. I have placed my rainbow in the clouds. It is a sign of my permanent promise to you, to all the earth. When I send clouds over the earth, the rainbow will be seen in the clouds, and I will remember my covenant with you and everything that lives. Never again will there be a flood that will destroy all life. When I see the rainbow in the clouds, I will remember the eternal covenant between God and every living creature on earth." Then God said to Noah, "Yes, this is a sign of my covenant with all the creatures of the earth." Noah's sons. Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the 3 sons of Noah, survived the flood with their father. Ham is the ancestor of the Canaanites. From these sons of Noah came all the people now scattered across the earth. After the flood, Noah became a farmer and planted a vineyard. One day he became drunk on some wine he had made and lay naked in his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father was naked and went outside and told his brothers. Shem and Japheth took a robe, held it over their shoulders, walked backward the other way so they wouldn't see him naked. When Noah woke up from his drunken stupor, he learned what Ham, his youngest son, had done. Then he cursed the descendants of Canaan, the son of Ham. A curse on the Canaanites, may they be the lowest of servants, to the descendants of Shem and Japheth. Then Noah said, May Shem be blessed by the Lord my God, and may Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge the territory of Japheth, and may he share the property of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. Noah lived another 350 years after the flood. He was 950 years old when he died. Chapter 10. This is the history of the families of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the three sons of Noah. Many children were born to them after the flood. Descendants of Japheth. The descendants of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshish, and Tiras. The descendants of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Repith, Togarmah. The descendants of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanum. Their descendants became the seafaring peoples in various lands, each tribe with its own language. Descendants of Ham. The descendants of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The descendants of Cush were Sheba, Haval, Shabath, Ram, and Sabdika. The descendants of Ramah were Sheba and Dedan. One of Cush's descendants was Nimrod, who became a heroic warrior. He was a mighty hunter in the Lord's sight. His name became proverbial, and people would speak of someone as being like Nimrod, a mighty hunter in the Lord's sight. He built the foundation of his empire in the land of Babylonia, with the cities of Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh. From there he extended his reign to Assyria, where he built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Kala, and Rezin, the main city of the empire located between Nineveh and Kala. Mizraim was the ancestor of Ludites, Anamites, Lahabites, Naptuhites, Pathrasites, Cashluhites, and Caphtorites, from whom the Philistines came. Canaan's oldest son was Sidon, the ancestor of Sidonians. Canaan was also the ancestor of the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Aravites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. Eventually the territory of Canaan spread from Sidon to Gerar, near Gaza, and to Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, near Lasha. These were the descendants of Ham, identified according to their tribes, languages, territories, and nations. And I apologize if anyone's cringing. I'm doing the best I can with pronunciations. Descendants of Shem. Sons were also born to Shem, the older brother of Japheth. Shem was the ancestor of all the descendants of Eber. The descendants of Shem were Elam, Ashur, Abizad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Aphrazah was the father of Shelah. Shelah was the father of Eber. Eber had two sons. The first name was Peleg, the division, for during his lifetime the people of the world were divided into different language groups and dispersed. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan was the ancestor of Almadad, Shalaf, Hazarmeeth, Jiraph, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, and Sheba, Ophir, Hivala, and Johab. The descendants of Joktan lived in the area extending from Mesha toward the eastern hills of Sephar. These were the descendants of Shem, identified according to the tribes, languages, territories, and nations. These are the families that came from Noah's sons, listed nation by nation, according to their lines of descent. The earth was populated with the people of these nations after the flood. I think I probably broke enough people's ears today, so I'm going to stop there, and we'll start with chapter 11 tomorrow. I hope you all have a blessed day. Have a great day, and see you tomorrow. Bye.